slightly little bit worried because I had that thing where the countdown continued to count down after 0. We're loading in. Hopefully this doesn't affect ping.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, as we are getting in. And oh my, this is why this is why I miss ESL Open Cup Asia, and I love that I am here, that we are here. These guys, they're not afraid to play on Submarine.
LE. As we continue our series, jumping in right in the middle of it on, as Light said, Submarine LE, the LE submarine that we all live in. In the bottom right-hand corner, map spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, the red Protoss player. He is going to be coming down from the land of South Korea. Currently teamless, however, sponsored by Corsair. He is the Sugar Bear Big Boy himself. It's his fans out of Sugar Bears. He is the big boy himself. Everybody get your mics ready. It is PartinG.
The Sugar Bear?
That's what he calls the subs.
And spawning in the top left hand corner of Submarine LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is blue. Oh, he is blue, representing team of Freak of Freaks. It is, of course, Stats. Smooth for me as well.
Yeah, it's actually smooth for me this time, which, it's actually not me this time.
Yeah. Everything is buttery smooth here for myself. Because the game wasn't affected, yeah, it does seem to be something a little bit more on steadfast end of things. But hopefully...
Aw, that's unfortunate.
Hopefully everything is okay. Hopefully things can iron out just like they did for you.
Yeah. Well, not so sure it wasn't ironed out so much as it was, took the shirt off and got a new shirt. By that I mean restart the client.
There you go. That's what you gotta do sometimes. Just take off that shirt.
I shouldn't have thrown the shirt out, honestly. I should have sold it.
I mean, anyone have bought it?
I mean, you never know. Maybe somebody has a craft project and they need some fabric or something.
It's possible. Oh boy. Alright. So, here we are. We are slowly getting into game number 1, and honestly, I'm surprised by the lack of aggression here. I know people may not have seen it, but the previous game of Stats versus PartinG, Stats actually proxy roboed.
Stats was the one?
Yeah.
The proxy robot?
And PartinG was the one with the natural expansion.
Damn.
And Stats was able to break through the defenses of PartinG, kill the natural, just deal far too much damage. So yeah, kind of interesting. Like the shoe was on the other foot.
Yeah, we don't know what happened in the first 2 games, but now that you mentioned that Stats was the one who proxy roboed, I just want to imagine that Stats proxied every game up till this point.
Oh god, I would hope so. If you do want to tune in to game number 1 and game number 2 of this series, then I believe Pig did manage to cast them. I know for sure Steadfast casted it as well, so they do have VODs available on their Twitch channels. Meanwhile, we are jumping in.
If you find out, let us know what happened so we can string together a narrative here as the series progresses.
Yes. And I see people asking for predictions. No predictions for this series, but they will be open for the finals.
Just gotta
wait.
We will be satiated.
Yeah, I'm not gonna open predictions when PartinG is up 2-1. Like, mate. God damn.
Gotta have some kind of standards here.
Exactly. Oh god, it's not with casting, but it will be with predictions.
Well, if we can't have standards for casting, then yeah, we don't have to have standards for something else.
Exactly. Meanwhile, PartinG did throw down that additional pylon here. Does reinforce with quite a number of stalkers. Stats is forced back, but he already has 2 shield batteries available. Overcharge is about to be available as well.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, it looks like PartinG has just enough to start one-shotting units, and he will, but he's also bleeding out a lot more stalkers than he can really afford.
Oh god, that he is. I mean, PartinG, he is up 1 gateway, so he will be warping in at 3 stalkers at a time as opposed to Stats with 2. But the problem is, like, we got shield batteries, we have overcharge available as well if he needs it. And as you said, PartinG does not have enough to one-shot.
Yeah, he has enough to potentially 2-shot if not for the shield batteries, but Yeah, not quite able to bust on through. So PartinG has to back away. Has to focus a lot more on his macro.
That he does, that he does. Even warps in a couple of adepts, try to be sneaky, try to sneak into the main base, but unfortunately for him, Stats is on point with his probe, is on point with his wall, and it is up and running. Ooh, Stats will commit.
Oh, he does!
Ooh.
Genius force field, though. Will prevent that adept from getting any more kills, and not even getting a sentry, dang. That would been a nice pick off of PartinG.
It would have, but the shield battery did keep the sentry alive. There was not enough DPS there, and PartinG is forced back home.
Which isn't the worst thing in the world for PartinG here. He's not too far behind when it comes to the workers. I mean, he's 5 probes behind, which can be disastrous. Okay, now he's 6 probes, which is ay.
Yeah, Stats does maintain that worker lead. Yeah, and thankfully for PartinG, it's not like Stats is getting a faster third base or anything crazy like that. So again, as long as he's able to saturate on 2 bases, that will be enough. Meanwhile, ooh, we do see Stats is the first player to throw down a Robo, and I believe PartinG was able to spot that with his Luke.
Yeah, just about. So he knows that Stats is gonna be looking to be a little bit aggressive across the map. Potentially drops a couple of immortals. Regardless, he is gonna be active this game. PartinG's gonna be looking to meet that in kind with a Dark Shrine. Interesting.
Yeah, as we saw, the Dark Shrine is proxied across the map, or even a proxy gateway alongside it, so you can warp in that little bit faster with that pylon. But as we saw, the Robo is already done for Stats much faster than that of PartinG, and that does mean that detection will be available for Stats.
But he does need to grab it so far, focusing a lot more on getting the warp prism out. Observer on the way.
Yeah.
Stats is well aware that DTs are a possibility from PartinG, especially since he hasn't been able to really scout what he's going for.
To be fair, like, these DTs still can deal some damage if they are able to sneak past the main army. Speaking of, we do see Stats pushing out across the map. As you were saying, because of that faster Robo, we do see a much faster Warp Prism, so Stats can go across the map and reinforce. And what does PartinG have? He has a handful of Stalkers, he doesn't have any shield batteries. Mate, this third is going to be cancelled.
Or killed. Come on, PartinG, cancels it. Whew, could have been disastrous.
It definitely could have. Meanwhile, we do have the DT sneaking into the main base, and there is nothing here to defend.
Yeah, the Observer's gonna come out later on, but nothing to actually take advantage of that. Beautiful blink forward by Stats, and he is just controlling the high ground.
He's pulling his
force field. Do we see a force field? He doesn't even need it.
There it is.
A force field. So much production is gonna be vulnerable over here for Stats to depower and take out. Meanwhile, the DTs are doing whatever they can over on the other side of the map, taking out as many probes as possible. Stats is really starting to bleed out when it comes to the income, but I don't think that should matter too much. Defensive DTs!
Exactly, and you know what? The Observer just got sniped. For Stats, the DTs will clean everything up eventually. I mean, Stats, this attack was amazing. It was impeccable. He was pulling a Zest, just keeping everything down into the natural, but eventually this will be cleaned up, and Stats has lost so much at home.
Not if Stats has anything to say about that. So gonna return the favor over here to PartinG. PartinG, he wants to warp in, but he has no gas. The only thing he can really make right now is Zealots, and that's not gonna be too useful against these Stalkers. The DTs definitely will, but the worker counts are even and out light.
Oh, that they are. Honestly, it's so important that Stats was able to kill these workers. Otherwise, he would have been in an awful position. Meanwhile, the War Prism looks like it will be focused down. It will fall. Recall is used. And at the end of the day, I guess Stats is ahead. I mean, he still has his third.
Yeah, he still has a third. He can chrono boost from all 3 bases. He's really overtaking the probe count here. PartinG, I guess, that's a bit of an opportunity now to go across the map and just try to take out the army of Stats. Well, he has a slight advantage, but we'll see how well that really goes for him. He's actually trying to go for re-establish his third base.
I was about to say, things were really hectic and things were really intense, but at the end of the day, things are more or less equal. Except for the fact that Stats does have the superior economy. And as a result, like, PartinG, he doesn't really feel confident enough to go for any kind of counterattack, and I don't blame him. Like, this army is still quite deadly for Stats, and Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how what PartinG can do from here. Maybe with Archons, you could argue that he should be a little bit more aggressive, but he's just content to stay at home for now. Oh no, there we go.
EV moving. That +1 upgrade has finished up. Both players are in even army supplies, but again, stats, he just needs to defend. He knows that he's in a better economic position. The Archon way in the front does get evacuated by the Warp Prism. And honestly, I feel like this is anyone's game. I have to favor PartinG a little bit more. All he's got to do is defend, and he's got that defender's advantage, but never underestimate the micro and positioning of PartinG.
Oh god, exactly. I mean, PartinG, he does have those Archons, but maybe I'm just valuing them too much. Like, as you were saying, stats with the defender's advantage, with the shield batteries, with the overcharge, like, he shouldn't die anytime soon, and as a result, stats is just getting further and further ahead. He's fully saturated on 3 bases. He can start focusing on other parts of his army, focusing on his robot production. There we go, charges on the way, and PartinG does feel like he's a bit on the back foot.
He feels that way because he is. He definitely is. Now, he has been able to re-establish a third base, and he's starting to main art some probes over to that position. They're surprisingly, like, kind of equal.
Yeah, it is honestly surprising. I would have assumed
Even
that
tech-wise.
Yeah, I would have assumed that stats would have probed up much harder, but he has been neglecting his probes mining gases as a result. So yeah, instead he's focusing more on his mineral income, and I guess that makes sense because he's working on charge, so he's looking to supplement his army with charge lots.
Yeah, you might as well bank up a couple of minerals so you can have a massive warp in of zealots.
Exactly. Meanwhile, PartinG, he's working on +2, but so is Stats. We do see Stats is finally working on his own Templar Archive, so he will be supplementing his charge lots with Archons for that charge lot Archon composition.
Which again, not a hard counter to what PartinG is going for, but still favored either way.
Yeah, it's honestly interesting that PartinG has kind of opted not to go for charge of any kind. He's instead staying on Blink Stalker and Immortal, which can be good, but again, this is kind of scary. He does have a lot of sentries for force fields, but once Archons come into play, the force fields will not matter at all.
They will not. The Archons are just gonna completely take him out with their massive size. And is it honestly that surprising that PartinG prefers to go for Blink Stalkers?
I guess not, but I'm a little bit concerned with how they're going to do in a head-on engagement here. Well, so far, the two armies are kind of dancing with each other here in the lower half of the maps. PartinG is actually trying to catch out the Stalkers of Stats.
And he's almost getting them. If you can isolate these Stalkers, then that's going to be a nice little victory. A little bit less to deal with when the push finally comes to shove. And that time is soon. Very, very soon.
Oh god, there are just so many zealots. I'm just concerned for PartinG because the Darkshine was taken out earlier. That means no more DTs, that means no more Archons, only 2 for PartinG.
But if you can manage to let them splash their AoE right on top of every one of these zealots, then they are going to be invaluable. Nice little engagement happening over here. Whoop.
Yeah, exactly, as the Zealots are connecting with the entire army of PartinG. PartinG, he does throw down a couple of force fields, but the force fields do get taken out, but he just has so many Blink Stalkers. Is this going to be enough? Ooh, the War Prison does get sniped.
That's uber important for stats. It means that PartinG won't quite be able to sustain this army.
Keep going, Puppy, keep going.
He's the engagement very, very hard. He's going for it with his Blink Stalkers. Massive army advantage he's got. I'm stuttering.
Oh god, no, it's not. Now is not the time to stutter, as we do have PartinG just microing back with his Blink Stalkers. Oh, we do see the game is starting to lag out a little bit here. Okay.
I think jump to 2,000 in a second.
Thank you for diving out. Like, this was the worst moment to start lagging, really, especially since both armies are engaging at the moment. And PartinG, my god, he still has a massive advantage in terms of his army, and he's trying to push on forward. I believe Overcharge is still available, plus Stats, he's trying to warp in as many Stalkers as he can to hold on.
Blink puppy, blink puppy!
Oh god, but PartinG, he blinks on forward, and he comes in with his Warp Prism, with an Immortal as well, and it looks like with this PartinG, he's going to be able to break through. The shield battery, it is out of energy. Overcharge has already been used. The probes are being pulled off the line. GG gets called.
My god, PartinG with the 3-0 over Stats.
3-1.
3-1. GG. And it's kind of an unfortunate result there because I just realized they're going to do vetoes. That means I can restart my client.
Go for it, mate. Oh god, but GG, congratulations. PartinG does take down Stats. Oh my god, didn't even matter that Stats had that mass amount of zealots. Honestly, I was very impressed. PartinG threw down a line of force fields, and the zealots of Stats were getting in the way of the Archons of Stats, and the Archons couldn't get like onto those force fields in time, so he was able to funnel in those charge zealots and trade so well against them. PartinG, nicely done there. Again, the army composition for Stats was a little bit awkward in that choke point.
That's what happens when you overmake zealots and you move them into 2 Archons.
Yeah. Aye. And with that, PartinG was able to clutch it out.